And it's got the little wheelie thing for lack of knowing what it really is called. But it's missing. Was told the motor's locked up. That's all I really know about it. It's a commercial grade eXmark. Not sure what size. Looks like about a 36 inch or something like that. So small size, you know, good for tight areas. Seems to be mostly complete. I see that chain is broken, missing, but there are belts on the two sides. Yeah, so none of the tires seem to be holding any kind of air. There are belts that we're turning right here for either side. I'm assuming that this would be okay. It's just so you just squeeze it and it just puts tension on the belt on either side. Okay. Little front tires are flat. Might go get inner tubes for them, don't know. And supposedly the engine does not turn. Well, there we go. Yeah. So locked up. It is a Kawasaki FB460V. Fuel pressure lubrication. Electronic ignition. You know, I mean, this is like a really heavy duty mower. I mean, this is like, you know, what they call like a fabricated deck. It's not just the stamped steel, you know, what you get on like a residential. So this was definitely expensive when it was new. Just have to see if it's worth messing with. So it looks like this chain just went right here. So don't think this is going to be any good. But you know, who knows. Yeah, so that would be what drives the wheels. Just have to see where this gets its power from, how that all works. But yeah, so you know, probably give it a little pressure washing and see you know, see what's up with the engine, if it's something that can be fixed, or if I should just try to find another one. Made in Japan, Kawasaki Heavy Industries. Well, it's got oil, mostly full, doesn't even look that bad. So maybe it's not locked up, maybe it's just something jamming it up. We'll see. Sometimes you have to just get it up off the bead a little bit, and it'll inflate it. There we go. We got 2 of 4. It's like sometimes you just have the, you know, it's just sitting down, so like the bead is just like being pushed apart, so you can't really get air in it. This one might be a little trouble. Well, one thing doesn't even have valve stuff. This one does. Got blades. See that? If I turn the blade, I would have thought it would have been not directly attached. Oh, look at that. We already freed it up. It's all the way around. So I might have some a shot after all. Yeah, so I see it's a 36-inch cut. Yeah, that's nasty. So, gas tank will have to be cleaned, but it's plastic, so you don't worry about it rusting. You know it's got oil in it. Yeah, now it turns. Oh, it's got compression now. And the pull start is that messed up. Yeah, I don't think it has any compression. Alright, so I just gave it a quick little pressure washing. I was able to inflate up 3 of the 4 tires, and they're at least holding air reasonably well. This whole wheel is a lost cause. The bearings are shot. You can see it's the bearings are shot on that one. This one I think is okay. No, it's wrong way. So already was able to get the motor to free up just by grabbing one of the blades underneath. So I've learned that these are the blades appear to be directly maybe not. What is this? There's 2 levers here. This one I think is, yeah, this is the drive, so I can feel gear notches. So that's that. We've got probably a choke and or throttle lever there. And then you've got your 2 side engagement handles with like a lock. So if you like pull it all the way up, you can, I think, lock it so that it just kind of stays going. So that's just belt drive. There is cogs on the belt though, so it would grip into something. Actually no, there is no teeth on that pulley. Yeah, so maybe this one might be to engage and disengage the blade. I'm not sure, or it's like a parking brake or something. But at least right now, when you pull the pull cord, the blades turn with it. So it seems like that's a direct drive. It seems like there's no compression though. I'm just turning it, and I don't really feel any kind of resistance on that, other than just the blades turning. So we may still have a blown motor, but we can dig into it a little bit and see what we see. But it really doesn't look that bad. It's not rusted out anywhere. I would say at the minimum it needs that front wheel, at least the bearings in it. It needs a chain to go right here. I have a chain, but I don't think it's going to come back to life. This little guy is loose. No big deal, I don't think. I see that like right here is all beat up, but maybe this did mount down here and then this all blew out, so they tried to move it up here. Someone threw some paint on this at some point. It looks like, unless they may have just painted it all to look like that from the factory, and then somehow it just flaked off. That may be what it is. Fuel shut off of some sort. Don't want to break it. So yeah, let's tear into it a little bit, see what we get for the motor. This is known as a flathead engine. The Briggs over here, what they call an overhead valve. This is an overhead valve engine, not overhead cam. That's even more advanced than this. So OHV, overhead valve. So this head sits up here like this, and the valves are up inside of the cylinder head, and they're overhead of the crankshaft, I think. Is that how that works? But basically, you know, it has a bigger head because the valves are actually in the head. So this is the combustion chamber. This sits over top of the, right over top of the piston. You got your spark plug right here. You got your intake valve. You got your exhaust valve. So gas comes in the bigger valve, or the air and fuel mixture comes in that valve. When it opens, the spark plug right there ignites it. It blows out the top valve, which is the exhaust valve. And you have two push rods, which are over there somewhere, that come up through here, right on these two. So these are like this. The push rod goes through here and is pushing up here and then turn down there. Those push rods go down in here and they ride on the camshaft, which is way back here. Well, not directly, but in theory. So the cam lobes are pushing up on these when they need to open the valves, and then it kind of like, the action kind of like makes a turn through these rocker arms and opens the valves up here. So on this type of an engine, this is old school. This is even more primitive. You know, on car engines, this goes back to like the 40s and 50s, where you have a flathead, because I mean, you know, that's it. It's just a piece of aluminum, I think in this case. This is your head gasket right here, goes right here. Not even sure if it's there. Yeah, I guess it is. And then your valves are in the block. So they're same, the valves pretty much look the same. They're riding down here on the cam lobes, but they're just kind of working right here. So your air comes in, and then it kind of makes a, you know, your valves are next to the piston as opposed to overhead of the piston. I guess that's what it is, yeah. Overhead valve means that they're overhead of the piston. So they'd be right here like this instead of this way. So this valve seems to be just fine. If I turn this over, whoop, and get a bit of grip on it. Oh no. Oh no, okay. That's right. The top one. Oh man, I'm getting this jammed up in here. Okay, it's actually the top one that's moving. Right, yeah. I looked at it, I was like, well, that looks like the shitty one. So, there you go. Bottom one is stuck open. So, we might be able to tap on that and get it to free up. But, in a nutshell, that's it. Piston goes up and down. Intake valve opens. Your exhaust valve is supposed to be doing the same thing. But it's not. So, what I'm going to do is turn this to where this valve is open. Like that. And we're going to see if we can give a little love tap to this guy. It might just have, you know, some carbon built up or something, and there you go. Now the only problem, it moved relatively, I mean, it definitely is stiff, but I'm going to turn it by hand. There we go. Okay. But it doesn't want to go back down by itself yet. So we're going to have to give it a little bit of TLC. All right, well, I can't find any rust penetrant because, you know, why would I? So we're just going to keep giving it a little love tap. And just see if we keep working it, if it frees up enough that it wants to go back in by itself. That was easier. There we go. There we go. That's what we're looking for. So that right there would be, for all intents and purposes, top dead center, or TDC. So both valves are closed, and it kind of seems like possibly this valve is bent. It might just be the way it's sitting. I mean, I guess they both look the same. They both kind of look like they're angled that way a little bit. I don't think it would have. Oh yeah, actually, if you look right here, it does follow the line of this you know, what do you want to call that? The tube that the valve would be running inside of. So they look like they are at a little bit of an angle. So, all right. Top dead center, pistons all the way up, both valves are closed. So you go down, intake valve, no, I'm sorry, that's the exhaust valve. Let's see. All right, hold on. Okay. All right, now we're at the beginning of the cycle. It's a 4-cycle engine, okay? Top dead center, the piston's going down, the intake valve is opening, okay? So right now, because this valve is opening, it's sucking the fuel air mixture in through here, through the carburetor. So that piston is going down, and it's creating that suction, that vacuum. So it's down. Now the valves are both going to be closed. It comes back up. This is the compression stroke. This is where it's squeezing the air fuel mixture, getting it really hot. Those are both closed. It's all the way up. Now what we're going to be doing is the spark plug theoretically is going to be igniting at this point, and then that explosion is forcing the piston back down. So it's being pushed back down. That's your power stroke. That's what the engine is doing. That's what all 4 strokes are being done for, is for that stroke right there. That is the stroke that's creating the energy. It goes down. Now your exhaust valve is opening up. Piston is coming up, and it's pushing all that exhaust waste out right here, which is going right into your muffler right here. So that's a 4-stroke engine in a nutshell. And we now have a 4-stroke engine. A minute ago, we had a 3-stroke engine. And by having this valve hanging open, we weren't able to have that compression stroke, because even though this valve was closing and the piston was coming up, all that was working, any squeeze was just leaking right out of this valve. So now that we have it opening and closing like it should be, now, I mean, you know, who knows how much carbon is built up around these things. You know, right now we're just trying to see if we have anything worth saving. It looks pretty good right now. I think it's absolutely savable. I'm not gonna go crazy here. If the thing runs, I'll go ahead and get a new head gasket for it. I'll clean all this up real good and make it like new. But for right now, I'm just gonna go ahead and put it back on and see if we at least have compression. If we have compression, then we can go ahead and try to figure out why we don't have a spark. All right, so I'm just gonna throw the head back on, and we'll see if we have any squeeze now. Yeah, there is a gasket there. It's a pretty thick gasket compared to what you'd see on like a Briggs. They're just kind of, I think, I don't know. I could be wrong. Well, I got one right here. Yeah, that's really thin compared to this. This is like, I don't know, maybe a 32nd of an inch thick. these two went on the top. Well, this right here was a score. If I can get this engine to run on this thing, this makes the whole $40 junk haul worth it. And these should be torqued to a specific spec, but I'm not worried about that right now. We're just trying to see if we have anything remotely close to a running engine. I will at least go on a cross pattern now. So I'll do that one. Now, I put my finger over this. Well, it's doing something. Yeah, definitely. I think it's leaking off probably around the yeah. I'll put the spark plug in and see, because then it's gonna, if it slows down a lot. Where did I put the spark plug? Oh, it's right here. All right, it's just snug. See, got some. Just putting a strain on the drill now. So we got something. So I don't know if it's enough to run, but we're closer than we were before. So now we got to figure out why we don't have spark. So the spark is created through this. It's basically like a, you know, an electromagnet. Every time the magnet that's on the flywheel comes by here, it sends a signal down here to create the spark. Now, rust on this shouldn't really affect it because it is a magnet. If there's not enough of a gap, which there isn't much. Before we take it apart, I want to just kind of make sure we're not grounded out on anything. But this right here would be the kill wire. This one right here. So I take that off. That would be the only way that it would be getting killed, so to speak, is if this was being grounded, which I can check and see if it is in a minute. But if you disconnect it, then you just bypass it altogether. So spark plug back in there. Yeah, no spark. Yeah, I gotta take that off of there. These look pretty rusty, so I'm gonna be gentle with these. Okay, not too bad. Yeah, stuck to the thing. Yeah, so these basically create their own electricity, so to speak, you know, just by the two magnets going by each other. So they don't need any power going to it because they create their own power. That one's not going to work. This one might. might be able to work with that. So what you want to do is just stick like a business card. Brandon, your business card is coming in handy. My friend gave me his business card the other day, and I think he was just kind of like, yeah, you know, here, I don't have a use for it. Well, you know what? I just found a use for it. Well, the width is actually slightly off, but maybe I can do what the other guy did. I mean, he was running his over there off of just one, so maybe I can do the same thing. Who doesn't even go through it? Well, that sucks. I guess since I don't have any other options, I'll go ahead and try to sand it a little bit. Is this the one? Yeah, this is the one. I guess we can do the same thing. Just make sure that the gap was right. I guess we can try it again. I guess it's also possible that the spark plug is no good. All right, well, it's totally the wrong plug, but just so we have like a clean surface. Let's some nice, clean, shiny metal showing there, shall we? Yeah, it definitely seems like that is a bad coil. I guess I'll have to figure out how much a coil is and if I can get one easily. Alright guys, so a little intermission from the eXmark for a minute. 20 bucks, I got this and the eXmark. Both of these I bought believing that the motors were junk. As you can see with the eXmark, I'm pretty sure the engine's going to run. This guy right here is a 2006 TORO 42-inch. I'm not sure if this is a hydro or not. It's got kind of a weird setup. It's got, you know, the pedal control, but it has forward and reverse here. I don't know. It only shows 150 hours. And when I went to pick this thing up, the guy, it was a pretty young guy. I think he was probably like 20 or something like that. You know, I saw this right here, and I'm like, this thing's had a fire. And I forgot what he said, you know, something unrelated to the engine, kind of, sort of, like, I don't know, he spilled gas on something and it ignited because it was hot. I'm not sure, I forget exactly what he said. Basically, I was kind of over this thing. I was like, well, you know, and I started trying to turn it over, and it seemed like it was just, like, basically locked up. So I said I wasn't interested. Basically, he was like, look, I just want to get rid of this stuff, so just make me like a really low offer, and it's yours. So I said, I'll give you 20 bucks. So 20 bucks, I got this, and I got the eXmark. Had to make 2 trips, about 30, a little less than 30 minutes away, so not terrible. Long story short, this had the exhaust rocker had come off of the valve. Why that happened, I'm not entirely sure. I think it overheated, which probably has something to do with the fact that this is all, you know, messed up now, and we'll probably want to replace that. But I put it back on. At first, it didn't seem like it wanted to start. I thought maybe the compression, you know, wasn't quite high enough. It had a little bit, but before it wouldn't spin over at all with the starter. It was just, you know, basically just completely like binding up just from, it wasn't hydrolock, but it was like airlocked. It had like too much compression, I guess. It was actually trying to suck in air because it couldn't, like when you put your finger over the spark plug hole, you could feel it sucking and pushing at the same time, or not at the same time, but you know, within a 4-stroke cycle. All right, anyway, so, and I kind of thought, it's probably still junk, you know. I got to spin over, but it's not running. Well, today I just came out and squirted a little gas in the carb, and it fired right up. So let me just kind of show you here. Good bit of grass with it, but okay, so this is another issue because before this was off and it wouldn't engage the belt, and I put it back on and it worked fine, and I see that it has jumped off again. So I think it just needs a new belt. It seems really thin, and I could tell when I was cutting it was a little bit, it was kind of slipping a little bit, but it did fine. I mean, I was, the only reason I stopped was because it's leaking oil pretty bad from, as you can see in there, it's just dripping out of the valve cover where I took it off, and these are, it was leaking already, but now it's really leaking because, you know, there's like no gasket now basically, and it was just smoking so bad from that. I just, you know, I was like, we don't need to have this thing catch on fire again, so I'll have to reseal that, and just kind of look into seeing if I can get like a new cover, a new shroud, a new deck belt, clean it up. And I mean, the hours are so low that, you know, I feel like this is easily a $500 tractor. It's a heck of a lot nicer to mow with than like the Murray. Like, it feels solid and strong. The trans is great. It has no issues there at all. You know, it cut pretty good for, I mean, the blades are dull as you could expect, but it did just fine. So nice little score, you know, for 20 bucks. I got, you know, this right here, which I mean, I don't have to spend any money at all. I could just literally reseal that valve cover and probably use it as it is. You know, there was a lot of grass built up inside of here, which may have been why it overheated in addition to that. But I think if I replace this, it's pretty much good to go, just with a couple little minor like service things like oil change and stuff like that. So anyway, we'll get back to our regularly scheduled program here. All right, so it's a couple days later, and I got a new ignition coil, some of China's finest, Zhongfa Tech is the name. I forget how much it was. It was something like $40, I think. Just pull it out of the package. This is how it comes. It comes separate, and from what I can see is you just take the boot off, kind of slide it down. You probably don't have to do this, but this is what I'm doing. Slide it down, and then in here it looks like a screw. So I'm assuming that you just stick this, because you can see the wire right there. You just kind of stick it in, and then I guess just kind of twist it on so it bites into the wire. That's what I'm going to go with. That's what seems to make sense to me. It seems like that's working. All right, it seems like that's on there. And slide this back up over like that, and see if this thing fits. If I remember, because the kill wire goes on that side. It didn't look really hard. I just kind of typed in the model of the engine, which is what, the Kawasaki FB460V, and this is what came up. I didn't see like any OEM ones. I saw a TORO video. I think he said they're pretty expensive, like $100 if you get it from Kawasaki. So wasn't willing to do that for something that I don't even know if it's going to run for sure. Got my business card in there. Oh, probably should have actually had it where the magnet was. That would have been smarter. All right, hold on. Definitely wants to suck it in. The magnet, that is. All right, so we got clearance. Definitely not much of an air gap, but I mean, we're just trying to, it's not hitting it, so that's what you're supposed to do. But this magnet passes these magnets here, and that causes this coil to collapse, basically. Creates a spark, creates electricity. All right, let's see if we can see some kind of a spark this time. And still nothing. All right, nothing. So what's the problem? Don't think I need to have any of this stuff hooked up because this is all just to kill it. But I guess we'll just do it just to be sure. Nothing. Well, that's a mystery to me. Unless I don't have the gap right, or maybe this thing is just junk right out of the package, because, I mean, that's always possible. This is a wrong spark plug, but it should be at least a good one. We're just looking for a spark. Nope. I guess I gotta look up the air gap. Maybe we have to make this different from what it is. The business card may not work on this one. I don't know. We actually do have pretty close to right. So I just looked it up. The spec is 12 thousandths of an inch, or 0.3 millimeters. And that actually does fit in there pretty well. So, but we're gonna just loosen it and do it right because we don't have any spark. So. All right, so now we know we got it right. For some reason, I still don't think we're gonna have spark. No, I just need to check to see if I have any kind of continuity between these. It definitely fits snugly, and it's definitely tight right there. Don't know what the problem is. It's probably just a bad coil right out of the box, if I had to guess. We'll check it here. All right, I'm just gonna compare the resistance. But you can check from here to here. .1 ohms. You can check from here to here. And that was OL. That's why I thought that this one was bad, if I remember. There's a couple that were OL, which basically means they're just open. Yeah. You can check from here to over here. Yeah, so that was all OL. So pretty much figured that one was bad. Yeah, this is from the Briggs engine. That one seemed okay. So this one go. Yeah, see, I've got something, jumping around. Some of that could be my meter. .46 kilo ohms. So it's basically open, really, but I mean, it's something. It's not just OL. Same thing there. We get about 2. No, we got nothing. .8 ohms from the ground to here. Yeah, similar, except that it was completely open from over there. So there is what I guess I'm now learning is called an igniter right here, which some of them came with that with the coil, but I didn't get that one. So that may have been my bad. I probably should have just done that too. What is this? Looks like a spark plug boot. I guess I'll look at this a little bit closer and see what I can see about that, because that might be our problem. I'm not even sure if I can just get that by itself, but hopefully I can. Because I kind of thought the way, you know, how it just goes into the ground, that would not have anything to do with creating spark. But from what I just saw Googling it real quick, it looks like this is called an igniter. So, because not all coils have this separate. Some of them, I guess, you know, it's all internal. So I'll look into this a little bit more and we'll see what we can see. All right, guys, so I got the original coil back on and I took this off. This is called the igniter right here. I can get these for, well, you know, I don't know if it's actually a good one or not, but I see them on Amazon for like $15.99. It says BM11, and you can just type in BM11 igniter and they come up. So what I did was, so what I'm learning is that most coils have this as part of this. So what looks to me like to be a kill wire, it actually, I guess, does both. It actually is getting, you know, the signal from this to ignite. So what I did was I disconnected the ground. Like this is like a safety ground. So like this would be, I think this, and it's all disabled or you know, there's some things happening. Like I found this was taped up right here. I'm not sure. It probably is supposed to go here. This is like a safety for the blade. There's a switch right there. So that's been disabled at some point. I disconnected. Okay, so I measured the resistance on this. I took it off and measured from like the case to here. And at first it was just 0. It's like it had complete continuity, like it was shorted together. I kind of just like bent the little tab a little bit. And then I forget, it was like, you know, 1 kilo ohm or something like that. But I was like, okay, well, at least it's not completely shorted. So I left this off, plugged it back in, put the new coil on, did not have any spark. I just put the old coil back on, and guess what? We got a little bit of spark. Gotta lay it somewhere that it's gonna get grounded out. But normally I have to hold it. So maybe I can hold it and hold the camera too. I'll set you down. See there? It may not actually come up on camera, but we'll see. Oh, Jesus. Yep. There's some spark. So, what that means is, spray bottle around here somewhere has got a 2-stroke gas oil mix in it. Not much in here, but all I need is a couple little squirts. So before you even try messing with the carburetor or anything like that, just spray a little gas right in the spark plug hole. Is it even the right size? No, too big. Put it on there and see if the drill can turn it over. We do it, I know I have at least a little bit of oil in it. Definitely has compression. No boom boom just yet. Let me see if I can square it in this side. Let's see. Intake is top, right? Yeah. May not be going fast enough. I don't know if my drill can. Yeah, I can't quite. I mean, I guess I can put all the covers back on and tug it like that. Let me make sure I actually am getting spark on this spark plug. Yep, I got spark on that one. Let me go ahead and put the covers back on so I can use the pull cord and I can maybe just give it a little more of a tug and I'll come back. All right, got the top cover back on. Put the spark plug back in. Let me give it another little squirt. Back up just in case it needs some kind of resistance. I don't know. Pretty positive the carburetor is going to need to be clean. So we don't have the muffler on here either, so it does start with pretty loud, but that's okay. You don't have to for a couple seconds if it does start. Phew. Man, this is for the birds. You know, electric start. Something's messed up with this because it shouldn't come out freely like that. Like you can hear it's got compression. I don't know. Maybe I'll put the muffler back on it. Maybe I'll just do that and we'll see. All right, kind of threw the muffler back on. I saw the choke was like stuck. I got that freed up and it's like on right now. Now it's on all the way. I squirt some gas right down the carb. The bowl's not on the carb, but I don't know. Let's see. Almost thought I wanted to go there for a second. Normally you can just spray some right in the carb hole or the spark plug hole and it'll run for a couple seconds. My wife's getting ready to pull in. Maybe we'll start off good for her.
Hi.
I'm trying to make some noise.
Huh?
Trying to make some noise.
Okay.
Slight chance it might make some noise. Oh. Pull cord is not engaging all the time. Alright, it's not gonna do it. Pull cords suck. Some of these have electric starts. It's got like a place where a start could go, but there's no teeth around the flywheel. Especially when I want something big. I mean, I don't even know how much horsepower it has, but it's probably like a 12 horse. So double like whatever the pressure washer is. Or, you know, normal push mowers. Alright, so it seems like pulling the cord is for the bird. So I took that back off. And I'm going to use an electric drill, not my cordless drill. I think it has a little bit more oomph to it. It is the next day. Turns it over. Probably a little better. I don't know. I think the choke is still on. I don't know. Definitely has compression. We saw it had spark before, unless we've lost it again. I mean, I guess that's possible. And we still have some spark. I mean, this is not really bright, but and we got spark, we got fuel, and we got compression. That's all you need to run. So one of them must be slightly not enough. Maybe the gap is too small on the spark plug, I don't know. Where are my spark plug gappers? I don't know what the spec is supposed to be, but yeah, it's pretty much like closed up. So let's just make that like something a little bigger, about 0.020 or 0.025 ish. Yeah, basically you just take one of these little things, you can buy these anywhere, Advanced Auto or whatever, and then it gets thicker all the way around, and you just find whichever one, whatever thickness you need, and normally you can just Google it. And then you just kind of slide it under between the electrode and the tip there. And you want it to be like a snug fit. It's kind of like the feeler gauge, you know, be kind of snug. And then if you need to be bigger, you can just kind of pry it up a little bit, but you just want to be careful because it's, once you go too big, it's kind of hard to go back, you know, easily. You know, you kind of want to start small and then just kind of work it a little bigger. So we just made it a little bit bigger. I don't think it's gonna make any difference. There's gas around here, but the tip is not really wet. Ow, jeez. Just make sure we have spark over here. I'm gonna try to hold this over this way. Just don't want to create any sparks right there. spark there. It might be a little bigger now. I just put that right in the worst spot. Just can't quite get it off. I don't know. Doesn't really make any sense. Unless the timing is off. But I don't know how you get the timing off. The only way that can really happen is if the flywheel key gets sheared. But I don't see that happening on something like this because the blades are not directly attached to the engine. So that only really happens on a regular lawnmower that just has the blade spinning right below the engine, and you run over a rock or something and you can hit it so hard that it shears the flywheel key. I can't see that happening on something like this. I guess I'll have to actually check the compression and see what it is. And we're actually, you know, there's a little bit of, this is like a 2-stroke mix, so if I'm putting, unless this is just not enough gas, I mean, I guess that's possible. Maybe this is just all oil in here at the very bottom of the thing. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe I just need to get some straight gas now and just spray that in there and see, because otherwise it just doesn't really make a lot of sense. All right, I saved some gas out of that tank on that mower. And sprayed some of that in there, so I get one more chance for tonight. I don't know how I'm gonna do it. Well, it backfired out of the carb, so something's happening. There's no chance of this car working as it is right now. It doesn't even have a bolt on it. I don't even know if I'm not even sure how it attaches. I need the old Musty One bottle. I'll just dribble a little bit in there. Alright, we had something there because it sped up. Definitely got some in there. Alright, this time it's going to do something. Hopefully it doesn't just burn my house down. There you go. Alright, I'm happy. Pull this right off. This didn't have enough gas in it. Alright, cool. So it runs. Alright guys, it's been a long video, but we do have a pretty good score here. It's got a good Kawasaki engine on it, if nothing else. But I don't think there's a whole lot wrong with the rest of the tractor. I was get the fuel situation figured out, clean the carburetor, clean out the gas tank. So it can run off its own fuel system, and then we'll just kind of start looking into, you know, we gotta get the tires to hold air, we gotta replace this, you know, this one here, the drive chain. You know, it's gonna cost a little bit of money, but it's a really nice mower. I still don't know actually what the exact model is. I haven't found any actual labels that show what it is, other than that it's an eXmark commercial 36-inch. But as far as like what they sell today, I think it's kind of like a Metro, which a 36-inch Metro today starts at $3,800. So it's a really expensive, heavy-duty mower, you know, for commercial, everyday kind of use. So I feel like if this thing is in perfect working condition, I could probably get anywhere between like $7,000 to $1,000 for this thing. That's just my guess based off what I've been selling the other things for. Because someone could really like use this and look professional. I'm gonna, you know, clean it up. I don't know. I may even paint it. Who knows? I'll probably just kind of buff it up to make it look as good as possible. Then I'll just like, you know, paint the wheels or something. You know, look a little better. Just little things. I'll do little things to make it look a lot better and make it you know, worth more to somebody that's trying to have a professional image for their, you know, startup company, obviously, because I don't think anybody that'd be doing it for a long time would be buying something like this. This is for somebody that would be starting out and just wants something that looks professional, you know. You show up with something like that, nobody's really going to take you seriously. But if you have something like this, you're pulling off of your trailer, you know, people will be like, okay, all right, I know these. This is what they use, you know. So anyway, please subscribe if you haven't already. You know, we're just kind of doing some different lawnmowers right now, different style lawnmowers, different engines, and I'm kind of learning as I go. So I'm glad we got this thing to run. That makes me pretty excited, actually. So anyway, see you on the next one, guys.